Hello again, Squadron. This is your leader, Lieutenant Commander, Mr. Everything. And today I'm coming at you with a flight tactic tutorial. And this is for you to understand the basic tactic that I am trying to teach to the squadron that I'd like to see us utilize more often and in conjunction with each other. In this video, you are going to see this little motley band of fighter pilots take on a Russian team, and yours truly comes out victorious. Now, in this dogfight, there was a number of times that I did a textbook attack, and I thought it would be to your benefit if I was to show you that textbook attack from a variety of different angles, and you could actually grasp it for use in our combat. Now, for those of you that don't know the textbook attack, it's displayed by Lieutenant Commander Thatch in Thatch's fighter combat tactics video that I should have on the website also. You should watch that. If not, what it basically says is get your altitude about 2,000 meters above your, or 2,000 feet or 2,000 meters. You want to be about 2,000 meters above your opponent when you initiate the attack. You're going to be initiating this flying straight and level or climbing, and they are going to be flying underneath you, obviously. What you will do is you will roll your wings over 180 degrees so that your cockpit is facing downward, your tail is facing downward, your wheels are facing skyward. You will have flown past them, over them, and then you will pull back on the stick and you will dive. So basically you are going to proceed with a half loop, a semicircle, and then that will put you on their tail. But you want to do that when you're almost directly above them, so that when you're attacking them at either a 45 degree or steeper angle, so that you are out of, okay, when most people look behind them, they don't look up and behind, they just look behind. So that most people will not turn to notice you coming in for that attack. They won't see you making that engagement. And then you will also have an opportunity to shoot straight down on their plane, making it a lot easier to rake the plane. When I say rake, I mean shooting at their engines and hitting the fuselage and their tail as they fly through your gunfire. So you will actually put bullets throughout their entire fuselage, increasing your chance of catching them on fire or killing any crew members. All right, now I'm also going to have the opportunity to pause the action at any time, and we will be able to look around and see what kind of action is going on. Now I'm going to put the HUD back on so that you can see where everyone is located. We have our F4 Buddy and our P-36 and Hurricane over to the right, and there should be a couple of PBYs behind us, a P-36 to our 7 o'clock position. And that is our entire force. Now the strategy that I'm using and talking about will work in all tiers. It will work in 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 5. But in tier 5, understand that due to the speed of your planes and due to the fact that they might have a larger turn radius, you might need to be higher than 2,000 meters above them, so that when you initiate that turn, I was trying it earlier with 5,000 and having it working pretty successfully. Okay, we notice that there is an SB-2M approaching our base located right here. So that's when I notify the team that I will be attacking the SB-2M. You notice we are approximately 5 kilometers away from him. That doesn't mean we're 5 kilometers above him, because we're at a 45-degree angle. What you can do is you can take that number and you can multiply it by 75%, or 3/4 of that distance, and that's approximately how high above him you are. So now we can see that we've got an ally that's making that attack. We do not want to commit too early. We want to allow our P-36 an opportunity to expend his ammo and to put some damage on our opponent. If we were in the same squadron, we would not do this. What we would do, because we would understand that the lead plane would fly down, shoot, and then break off. And remember, when you are diving down onto a bomber from the front or the back, when you attack him, you do not slow down and stop and get behind the bomber. You continue on with your full throttle, well, maybe not full throttle, but your full speed, and you strike at him, and then you dive 90 degrees to either the left or the right under the bomber's wing. So the pilot or the player, when he looks to his left, you're under his wing. Okay. Also, traditionally you would do that anyway, because the crew pilot would not be able to see you making that dive and would lose contact with you. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm rolling over, and I'm starting to lower my altitude. I realized I was probably still just a little bit too high to make this attack, so I'm lowering my altitude. I see the second P-36 is coming in, and rolling over. Notice how steep this attack is. Okay, we are going to switch to that bomber. Okay, this is the bomber that we were diving in on. If you were that player and you were wanting to tail gun, you would probably be shooting at that. Now, if you look on your screen, even if I kind of centralize him, you do not see my plane on his screen. The other plane is the P-36 here. If he was shooting him, he would also not see my plane. Why? Because I am way up there, almost directly above him. Okay. Here we go. Let's continue this strike. Zero throttle. Don't want to overshoot him. I do want to overshoot him, but strike, and then down and away under his wing. I continue on down and away. This maintains my velocity, so I am able to actually get in, shoot him, and get out before he can return fire. Or if he does return fire, I'm extending my range from him, so it would be harder for him to shoot me. And then I go back into a climb. And he's shot down. Knowing that he's shot down, and knowing that there were more fighters over in this direction, I turn and begin my climb. Another thing that's going through my mind is I want to stay close to our PBY because he's going to need our guidance, our protection. I'm also glad that these two P-30s, or the two Army fighters, are sticking with me and they're engaging with me. That was a lot of good teamwork going on right there. Okay, now I see this BB-1 over here, and I realize that I'm in a pretty good attack position already, because after the attack I went back into a climb, gained some altitude, and I see that I'm going to basically rinse and repeat. I'm going to do the exact same thing, or attempt to do the exact same thing to this BB-1. I also notice there is a lag and a yak over here engaging our British brethren in his Hurricane. But he's not the objective. I'm basically throwing him to the wolves for one reason. He's off by himself. That's his own fault. And the bombers are more of a prime target. Okay, so you see where we're at, approximately 2,000 meters above. The Thunderbird's attacking. He's going to shoot or get shot or who knows what. And then there should be another fighter here, a P-36, also going to engage. Now this BB is starting to make a turn, which if you're a bomber, that's actually kind of smart, because now I'm going to have a harder time getting on his tail. Actually, the Wildcat has not a hard time getting on anyone's tail. Because why? Because we're going to be attacking almost in a vertical position. So it doesn't matter which way he's flying. I just roll the fuselage and you're there. You're on his tail. Rolling. And then jumping in. Now the BB is still turning. Now, with the BB flying so low to the ground, you're not going to be able to dive straight down into the BB because you will run straight into the water, right? He's shooting at that hawk there. He's shooting at that hawk there. He could probably still see me because these guys haven't attacked and continued on. These guys are attacking and staying in his rear gunner's arc. You don't want to do that. You want to hit him and get out. But because of the dive, you can't do the original tactic, the under the wing. You still want to do that, but you're going to have to do it in a slightly different manner. Okay, you notice how the angle is not as vertical as it was before. And then I immediately pull up and away as opposed to down and away. Now there's this I-16 coming in. It's a fighter. I'm not scared. Why? Because I know I've got these two guys backing me up, the P-36s. They're Army. They're on a different frequency. We're not talking, but I trust that they will support me. Okay, the I-16 is getting within about 2 kilometers. Whenever an additional fighter gets within about 2 kilometers, you need to be very aware that he's about to hit 1 kilometer, and as soon as he hits 1 kilometer, you're in range of his weapons. So you don't want to allow him to get within 1 kilometer without you being on the defensive or offensive. Okay, so I was letting him close, but I noticed, hey, this I-16, he's below me now. He's given up the advantage. He's under flak attack by our base, which is nice. And he's going after these P-36s because I think he thinks that he has the advantage over them, and he might. So the advantage falls now to me, then the I-16, then the P-36s. So I immediately take advantage of that. I see the lag at this point. He comes into view. Now I'm conscious that the lag is far enough away that he's not going to be able to interfere in time. Okay, I'm keeping my eyes on that range to the lag. And I'm looking, I'm staying up, I'm staying high, I'm trying to fly, just like the bomber. I'm trying to fly over the I-16 so that I can turn and dive and get him at a different angle. I don't want the angle to be 0 degrees. I do not want to be directly behind him when I'm shooting. Why? Because it's a smaller target. Your bullets will travel to the left and right side of the fuselage. Your bullets will fly above and below the wings, But if you're shooting at an angle like this, like if I was shooting at this plane, look at all that flat surface areas you have to hit. But if you shoot at an area like that, it's very hard to hit. Rolling, diving, I'm behind him. Now, even though I'm in a fairly good place to shoot, I was hoping to close in just a little bit closer to ensure that he was dead before he realized, because he is probably concentrating all of his attention on Thunderbirdies. So I'm under 5 kilometers or 0.5, 500 meters. So that's when I open up. And I probably do a little bit of missing, a little bit of hitting. Okay, now this is, at this point right here, he's going to turn. This guy looks like he's flying off and leaving us. This guy looks like he's also turning to the left. So he might be going after him, or he might be avoiding my gunfire. It's hard to tell. I'm kind of almost ignoring this guy, hoping that my chasing of the I-16 and the I-16 flying left and right, zigzagging, figuring eight, if I do the same, I'll in effect be dodging his shots as a secondary action. Okay, at this point I realize that I am going to overshoot the I-16. The lag is going to be on me any second. What am I going to do? I pull straight up. Okay. Why would I do that? Why would I pull straight up? Because what that's doing, and what it's allowing me to do, is I'm doing a loop, but I'm not doing a loop straight up and back. I am doing a loop up and to the right, so that when I come down, I'll be facing to the left. And that way, I will be back behind the I-16, and hopefully I will have avoided getting killed by the lag. Okay, I got a little bit of hit on him. He's probably not dead. The lag is now changing his target to the hawk, which, because the hawk is, we're doing what's called the thatch weave. The thatch weave is you shoot the guy that's shooting me, and I shoot the guy that's shooting you. Now, back to the, now once I flame him, whether I kill him or not, once he's on fire, I immediately realize that I have the opportunity to move on and protect myself or attack another target. Because if he is on fire, there's about a 50% chance that I've shot him down. Yes, he could put the fire out, but even if he does, he's going to have damaged components. So now when I realize that this guy is basically turning in on me, and I'm turning in on him, he's turning in on me, I'm turning in on him. Now it's a turn fight. And now we're relying on the fact that who can outturn who. The Wildcat. The Wildcat can definitely outturn a lag. But sometimes you might need a little help with that turn. So sometimes it would be good to use your flaps. Remember not to try not to use your flaps at over 165 miles per hour. At this point, I realize that I'm wounded. The PBY is so far away and heading towards the target, and that yak just went into the dirt right there. Everybody's going back to base. I figured now would be the perfect time for me to go back to base. And so we'll pause until we get back into the action. All right. We've rearmed, and we have repaired, and we've taken back off. And if you notice, I'm already back up to 6,000 meters. We have Thunderbird still flying with us. He's flying low. He called out that he wants to attack ground targets. We also have Alpha Dog back there, and there's also a P-38 around here somewhere. I have no idea where he's at. But our PBY is over here. I don't know if he's still flying or if he's been shot down. We are winning slightly. And then here comes Sheaf. Sheaf is their top guy. He's in a Yak 7. He's got a couple of kills under his belt. And I see him diving, because at first I was like, oh, he's coming for me. But then I see that he's diving down on Thunderbirdies. I call out to Thunderbirdies and let him know he's getting ready to be attacked, and that I am heading over there to assist him. But I'm not going to give up my altitude just yet. And then I see Thunderbirdies and the Sheaf, so I decide, okay, I need to get down there. I nose down to speed up, hoping that the P-36 would head my way, but he didn't. He decided to enter into a turn war with this Yak 7. And I do believe a Yak 7 is going to outturn the P-36. They're going head on. P-36 broke off, but that put the Yak 7 behind him. Okay. Now, students, seeing this position, seeing where the Yak 7 is located, seeing where the P-36 is located, and seeing where I am located and support is located, how should I attack? What should my angle of attack be? Well, if you guessed, fly over, roll, and dive, you guessed correctly. Guess what? It works on every attack. Not ground attack, aircraft attacks. So I'm approximately 2,000 meters above, flying over the target. Then I should roll and dive. Now I rolled to the left this time because I felt like if I rolled to the right, I would have been at too steep of an angle. So I rolled to the left to bring my angle closer to 45 degrees. I lost him. He actually disappeared. My eyes lost contact with my target. And then I saw that my ally had been shot down. So at this point, I have stopped thinking I need to save that pilot, because that was going through my mind. Save that other pilot. But now that's not necessary. My mind automatically switches gears into save myself, kill Shafe. I'm not diving on him, if you notice. I am, but I'm not. And then we get pretty close to being above him, and I roll, and I roll, and I roll, and I roll, and he climbs. Okay, which is actually a fairly good strategy on his part, but do you see the way he is angled? He's angled away from me. If he had climbed and his wings were rotated the other direction, coming towards me, we would have crisscrossed like scissors, and I would not be able to shoot him. But because he is angled away from me, watch what happens. I'm now using flaps. The Wildcat does not have combat flaps. It only has landing flaps. which are extremely effective in combat at slow speeds. Okay, where are we now? Okay, I'm having a hard time hitting him. Okay, you can see that there are flashes on him. You can see there are sparks. I'm making contact. There is contact with him. And then there was none. Now, you want to follow your opponent in. Not really, not really. But you want to follow your opponent in so that you can witness his crash, so that your gun cameras will pick that up so you can get credit for that back at the headquarters. And those were 5 textbook attacks. You got a couple of bomber textbook attacks, and you had a few 3 fighter textbook attacks. Now I only had 4 kills credited to me and 1 assist, because one of those bombers was taken down by one of the P-36 pilots. All right, and that is how to attack with your Wildcat and most fighters in War Thunder and in a historical dogfight. So thank you for coming out and checking out this video, and I'll see you in the air.